Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Couch Talk with your girl LeeChris. Today I'm going to be telling you a couple of things that I have learned over this past week with cooking, with life, with business, everything. We're just gonna have regular conversation. There's no topic. I am currently trying on wigs because on Saturday is my sister's entrepreneurial gala. So if you live in Cairo, please make sure that you check it out. Tickets are $50, but you take away much more than $50. And I'm gonna be running a special. So if you go to the gala, I will do your BOI reports for $75 instead of $100. So it's like you're getting $25 back off your $50 ticket for that. So and that's under my business, LS Legal Consulting, that I'm doing this. As you guys can see, I put on this headband. I'm not wearing this headband with it. I just put it on to kind of lay down the top part, but I'm trying to decide whether I want to sew it on or just put it on. As y'all know, I'm doing the whole trying to wear my real hair for like a year. However, my anniversary is coming up in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4. I don't know. It's April 24th. So I have many weeks that is. My anniversary is coming up, so I'm trying to decide, I don't know what my husband is doing, if we're going anywhere, whether he will even be in town. As you all know, he does not live here. He's running a business, and so he's back and forth, but in the islands. But anyway, I went totally blank, y'all. But anyway, so I may wear a wig. I may not. He doesn't like wigs or weaves. So I may just go get my hair cut and wear my real hair. Just depends. So let's get to, first of all, the tea of today. And I'm drinking out of my mug. I am burning my hands, y'all. Don't quit your daydream. This tea is very hot because I just made it. The tea that I'm drinking today is peppermint and honey, vanilla almond chamomile. I do not like the vanilla almond chamomile by itself, so I always mix it with another flavor. My favorite flavor to mix with it is peppermint, even though I also put peppermints in my tea anyway, but it just gives it a different flavor. And then of course, I sweeten it with honey. I try to use as many, as close to natural. I don't sweeten my tea with sugar. So it's actually really good, but it's really hot. It's really hot, but it's really good. Anyway, so first we're gonna start with my cooking trial today. So last night I wanted some nachos with cheese dip. My tortilla chips were all crumbled. Don't you hate that when you get to the end of the bag and there ain't nothing but crumbles? So I had a few corn tortillas, the small ones. So I cut those up and I fried them and made homemade tortilla chips. And it was great. I've tried that recipe before. It was really good. I just don't like putting all that grease in my body because, like I said, I'm trying to be more natural and eat healthy. I've eliminated sugars. I'm working on that. Oh, this band look rough, y'all. Anyway, back to the story. So, I fried them. They were really good with the nachos. But I only had like 3 or 4 left. So this morning I wanted some more dip because I don't like throwing away food, y'all, and I have enough for another serving to eat for lunch today. So I didn't have any more corn tortillas, so I used flour. I had some huge flour tortillas for, like, I love quesadillas. So to make quesadillas with. So I cut those up, and I was like, I saw several different recipes because I love researching, and I wanted to see whether or not, people have made them with flour tortillas versus corn. And I saw a couple of recipes, and I didn't really look at the recipes to see what they did. Like I normally do, I just like to see what the ingredients is and do my own thing from there. So I took it, I cut up the corn tortillas, and as best as I could. They don't look like tortilla chips, but I'll put up pictures later of each one and how it looks. So, what I learned, I fried a few in oil. I air fried a few, and I baked a few just to see how I like them and which one I like better. Yeah, first of all, I think in the oven and the air fryer, I left them in too long. I did maybe like 15 minutes, and I probably should did like 8 to 10 minutes, because they are a little crispy. I tasted them all. First of all, let me tell you. So after I cut them up, I sprinkled a little olive oil. I took a little olive oil, poured it in something, and took my fingers and spread it out on the top of the chip. And then I put them, laid some on a cookie sheet on top of foil. And then the air fryer, I also lined it with foil, and I put them in, and I started to cook them. I preheated the oven for 350. The air fryer I put on French fry. I don't know if your air fryer looks like that, but however you cook French fries, mine has like a menu, and it has a picture of the French fries. So I just put it on French fry, which is like 390 degrees at like, I think 29 minutes, but I didn't cook them the whole 29 minutes. I stopped it at 14 minutes. But anyway, so when I pulled them out, I saw that they were very brown, and you'll see it in the pictures. And when I tasted them, the baked ones tasted a little like toast. The air fried ones weren't that bad, or maybe I didn't eat a big enough piece of it. Even though they were very brown, they didn't taste like toast. And then the fried ones, which I only flash fried for a few minutes, they came out perfect, just like the corn ones. However, I don't like how the grease sits on top of them. And I don't like how the grease sits on top of even the corn ones when you fry them. And so I often sit them on paper towels, let them drain, for a little while. Try to soak up as much grease as possible. However, the grease just sits there. So yeah, that's my only thing about that, is how the grease sits on it. But I like the fried ones the best. However, if you want healthier, then, I would say go with the air fried ones. Um, Also, what I would recommend to keep from making the mistake I made, don't cook them for 15 minutes if you use the oven or the air fryer, and that could be one of the issues. I'm going to try it again, and next time I'm going to make sure that I cook them for only about 8 to 10 minutes to make sure they don't get too crispy and too hard. When they were done, while they were still hot, I sprinkled a little kosher salt on them. I generally don't use salt, but I put a little bit because chips. You can't eat chips without salt or a little bit of salt, some type of salt, sea salt, kosher, whatever, regular salt. So I sprinkled a little kosher salt on them. And so after I get done taping, I'll, eat my lunch and I'm gonna eat the fried ones first, or maybe I'll get a little bit of each. So that's my lesson learned from cooking. My trial and error with cooking. So the next thing I learned, I went to church. Well, I watched online at my church, Linked Up Church, with Pastor Joel Gregory. And when I tell y'all, he's teaching on a series called God's Plan. And the last 3 weeks, me and one of my friends were talking about it and talking about how we've been in tears and how this one has really been, hitting. He's always on point. His sermons are always teaching you and something you can absorb and take away, and it helps better you as a Christian. But this Sunday, when he talked about God's plan, he talked about some things that, and I'm getting a little just thinking about it, but something I noticed I had been doing in my marriage, which was holding the now against him and not thinking of everything he did in the past. You know what I'm saying? And how many know, we as people, we're human. We go through things. We do things that, we react in different, depending on the space we're in, is how we react. So, you don't never know what a person is going through. You don't know what they tell you. And so I just know that one of the examples that Pastor gave was he talked about, how God blessed you and still brought you out of where you are because he saw your future. He saw where you were going. And he pulled you out for your future, the future you, and he didn't look at where you were and what you were doing at that time. And I was like, you know what? I have to stop, and a lot of times I tell myself, I'm like, I'm always giving people, thoughts from my devotions and things that they can take with them, and always giving people advice. But I got to learn how to take my own advice. And so one of the things that I have very much so learned is, not to, we always talk about meet a person where they are, treat a person the way they're treating you. And if they're acting funny, then, leave them where they're at and move along. But a lot of times, we don't know how a person suffers. I was telling my best friend something this morning. Him and I were talking, and I told him, I said, you gotta remember that a woman will go through silently, and she won't necessarily come out and just tell you what's going on with her. You know, a woman cries in silence. And Lord, I'm getting emotional because I'm just thinking about how we as women carry so much. We carry so much. And we don't confide in anyone about what we are really going through. Because we don't want anybody to have to go through what we're going through. And I don't have a problem crying on camera because it's okay to show emotion. And I want my viewers to understand that it's okay to let it out. Cry if you need to. Scream if you need to. Go punch a pillow if you need to. Do whatever you need to do to express that emotion. I'm not going to kill nobody or hurt nobody, none of that. But, you know, things that won't be hard. But anyway, so I was telling him, you know, that a lot of times we go through in silence. And it's not necessarily meant for us to bring people into that space, because sometimes that's a space that we need to figure out on our own. And I'm sure men, you go through the same thing. I could just only come from a woman's perspective because I am a woman. But anyway, so I was telling him that, you know, you may just need to go and sit with that person and say, hey, I noticed that you're not the same cheery person this week. So I'm just going to sit and talk to you. I'm bringing you some good energy and some good vibes. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we just need that. We need a smile. We need a good deed. We need a I love you, or have a great day, or how you're doing today. Sometimes we need that. So you have to be that person to step outside of the norm when you notice something different going on with somebody. And instead of being like, oh, I see you smiling every day, then you know if you see that going on, that something has happened or something is wrong. So that person may need you. You just might be the energy that they need to catapult them to the next level or through the rest of the day. You may be that energy that changes their thought process. So, you know, we have to get out of the mindset of, oh, I'm just going to mind my business. I noticed this, but I'm going to mind my business. No. Sometimes we need you to say, you know what? What's going on with you today? I've noticed you haven't been, you know, going to the water, what they call it, the water cooler at 5 o'clock every day. You know, and I've been looking forward to seeing you at the water cooler. What's up? You know, that's not really getting in their business. That's just asking them, you know, I haven't been seeing you at the water cooler. I've been looking forward to seeing you there so we can have our morning talk. You know, you good? That ain't being nosy. You just asking them how they are doing. You're not asking them, well, what happened to you last night? You know, I saw that you did X, Y, Z, and, you know, it must be something where you're not digging. Keep it surface. You don't have to dig. Keep it surface. A lot of times the surface is all we need to feel comfortable enough to open up. So, you know, just know that people go through in silence sometimes, and sometimes they need that, and I've learned that. And, you know, getting back to what Pastor was talking about, when he was talking about, because I totally went left, but when he was talking about God's plan and talking about how, you know, don't hold, and he specifically talked about in your marriage, don't hold against that person the right now. But think about the things that they've done in the past. So if you're at a place in your marriage where, and I've been in places where I'm like, okay, he don't do this no more. He don't do that no more. He used to do this, and he don't do, none of that. He's not the same person. People change. Maybe I'm not the same person either. But I can't hold it against him. I have to look at the things that he did in the past. When he did, bring you flowers, or when he did call you just to say, I wanted to hear your voice, or I wanted to see your face. Those little sweet things that they used to do. Hold on to that. And remember those things. Don't hold the present against them. Now, if they continue to change for the worse, of course you need to step back and look. But, in that moment, and you got to pray for them. I pray for myself, for my marriage, for my husband, for our businesses, for our finances. I pray for other people because I'm not a selfish prayer. If somebody tells me something's going on with them, they add it to my prayer list. And I pray for them, and I pray for that situation. If something good is going on for that person, I pray that it continues to go good. So if y'all don't want no prayers, y'all better not tell me nothing, because I'm going to pray. I'm going to add you to the prayer list. And it's going to be between me and God and nobody else. I'm not going to tell nobody a business. It's me and God. God already know. So you ain't got to worry about it. But anyway, I learned a valuable lesson in that. And y'all, when I tell you, me and my friend was talking about how, we've been crying. And I said, from my devotions in the morning and my morning worship and prayer, then Sundays I'm crying. I said, sometimes I be crying all week. I said, and I don't know if some of you all saw, if you follow me on Facebook, then you saw where I put a post up and I was talking about letting your tears write the letter to God. Yeah. It's something in those tears. If you remember Mary, the sister of Martha in the Bible, where she cried and she washed Jesus' feet with her hair. She wiped his feet with her hair and her tears. And then God blessed her because it was something in those tears. And so we just got to remember that it's something in those tears. It's okay to cry. Open up to God when you cry, because he knows. You know what I'm saying? He knows what you're going through. And you crying is your vulnerability to him. And enabling, it's opening up for him to come in. So, yeah. So, take that lesson. That, God, when I tell you God is amazing. I was watching another video, a video my friend put up. And this was testament even more to what it means to be with God versus not being with God. This man's, and I saw it on my friend's page, but this man's daughter, and he was videoing and crying, showing his vulnerability to God. He was videoing and crying, and he was showing the car Now, you see the car overturn the railing, the metal railing, straight through the driver's side of the car. The car is overturned on its top. It's overturned. The metal railing is straight through where what was supposed to be the driver's side. Looking at this car, I was like, oh my God, he gonna show us somebody laying there, dead or in pain, or what is this man about to show us? Then he goes to the car, his car. Before that, he was saying, my daughter called me this morning. She was like, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh no, his daughter died. She was killed in the car accident. Wasn't no police officers there. You could hear the ambulance. You could hear the sirens. But the officers, nobody was at the scene yet. So apparently he got there. His daughter must call him and he went running like any father would do or any mother would do. So he got there and he was saying, look at the car, showing us the car and everything. I'm like, okay, God, what is he about to show us? Let me get myself together. So he goes to his car and he tells his daughter, open the door. And she's there and she's crying. You can tell she's shaking up. She got tears, but this girl is fine. There is nothing wrong with her. He said she had a few scratches on her feet, a few scratches on her hands. But she was able to crawl out of the car. And when he got there, she was sitting there waiting on him. And looking at that car, she shouldn't have been out with just a scratch. She should have been dead, really, looking at the car and how it looked. There is no way but with God that she should have survived that accident. And this man was crying and he was telling people, God and praising God and, giving God thanks. And it just made me so emotional because I thought about some things in places I've been. I was in a car accident in 2019. I don't know if you can see the scar. It's going away. But I had a broken ulnar bone. I had to have surgery. And they put in a plate and screws because they didn't want it to grow back crooked and me to lose, all function of my wrist and my hand movement. So, I tell people when I tell people about the accident, I tell them, I praise God. When I look at this scar, most people look at scars and they're like, oh, I got a scar. But when I look at the scar, I thank God that it could have been worse. Because scars mean you still alive. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, I praise them because I could have not had a scar to look at. I could have been dead. You know what I'm saying? But a scar means that you're still here. Still here. God gave you another chance. So you got to tell the story. You got to give him the praises for being who he is in your life. And I thank him every day. And just hearing that man praise God and, seeing that young lady in tears. And I know that she probably was shaken up, but at the same time, she probably was praising God as well. For what she had come out of. Because I know me, every time I went and saw my car was totaled. Well, actually, I had a truck. It was totaled. The person hit me, I hit a light pole. That light pole could have very well fell onto the car and killed me. It's a lot of things that could have resulted, but God. And some of y'all wonder why I'm always saying, but God. This is why, because so much could have happened. So much could happen to you, but God. So that was my lesson from church on Sunday that I will carry with me through this week. Another lesson, that was a personal lesson and a spiritual lesson. Another lesson that I learned was about my businesses. Now, my businesses are not going great. Like, money's not flowing like it should be. But I still thank God and I still praise God for where I am in spite of, I interviewed for a job, and one of the things that I was questioned so thoroughly in the interview about my law degree and why I wasn't practicing law, and it's a lot of money there, and no, it's not. It depends on the type of law that you practice, and it depends on who your client is as to whether or not you make lucrative money. Usually corporate law and personal injury law are the money makers. I do wills. I do divorces. Those documents, and, once I'm barred, that's what I'm going to practice. I have a business, Will and Worker LLC, and I do wills, contracts, divorces, things like that. And I explained to them that my whole goal is to be able to offer these things at pricing that people can afford. Because a lot of people can't afford an attorney. Now, I can't represent you in court. So if it goes to court, you're gonna have to hire an attorney. But I tend to do the paperwork where it doesn't go to court. I am a lawyer. I have a law degree, but I'm not an attorney because I'm not barred. Therefore, I can't give legal advice. And I can't represent you in court. However, I could do your legal documents. You just come to me, tell me what you need. I'm getting a divorce. I send you a questionnaire. You fill it out. You send it back. But anyway, that was my little plug, y'all. Anyway, businesses have not been flowing. I had a job interview because I've been looking for a job. I'm getting ready to start a home hospice. And I'm at the stage where it's time for me to start marketing and get patients. Y'all, this is the scariest stage because this is a stage where I'm going to need money to pay my staff, money to run it, and I ain't got no money. Not like that. But I know God is going to make it work. And so what I've learned in my business is stop. When God pushes you to do something, just do it. He's going to be the one to fund it. He's going to be the one to guide you. Whatever your fear is in that, give it to God. And let him handle it. And don't pick it back up. That's what I'm working on, not picking it back up. I'll give it to God all day, but honey, I am quick to pick it up. And I have got to stop doing that. Stop picking it up. So this week, one of the blessings of God to my cousin, I told him what I was doing. He does consulting. He said, well, send me your marketing materials. And I look up, so I sent him to him. He's looking over them. And, he's doing something I probably would have paid thousands of dollars for with somebody else. He's doing it for free. So if you have started a business and you're looking for marketing, or somebody do your marketing materials for you, his business, he does a great job. And if you contact me, I will give you his information as well. I'll get his permission to advertise his marketing services on my social media, as well as on here. But I haven't gotten his permission, so I won't advertise him. However, that was a blessing God sent. I would have paid a lot of money for marketing services. So now all I got to do is print the materials that he creates, put them in a folder, put it together, and go around and give it to personal care homes and hospitals and places, which is not going to be hard. So, excuse me. But, that was a lesson for me to do what God tells me to do. I am studying right now to be a real estate agent. I gotta get back on that because I haven't studied for a few days. So I gotta get back on it and get back on that plan because God obviously has something. Things are being held up for me, I feel, because I'm not doing what God is telling me to do. So I have to work on that. And that's another lesson that I have learned in my businesses to do, to keep pushing. Excuse me. I'm going to drink me some tea because I keep coughing. Excuse me. So what I've learned to do is to keep pushing in my businesses. Make sure that I take the steps to do the things that I'm supposed to do. I have a company, LS Legal Consulting, that, helps with business startup, not money-wise, but helps you file everything you need to file to make sure your business is legit. And, because a lot of us have businesses and we've been calling it a hobby for 10 years. It ain't a hobby no more, baby. After a few years, it's no longer a hobby, it's a business. And it's time for you to take the next step. In one of my businesses, it's time for me to take the next step. So I'm finna change it to an S Corp. So that I can file employees with it. So it's time to go to the next step. I've been an LLC from the start. Now it's time for me to be an S Corp. So I'm getting ready to take that step with that business. But yeah, so the lesson I've learned is just with my businesses is to keep pushing regardless of, where we are, how scary it is, to just keep pushing. And, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. My favorite symbol is the rainbow. I love, when I see a rainbow, I gotta take pictures. Like, I love when I see a rainbow because I know that, that's God's promise. And I take it not only as the biblical promise that he'll never destroy the earth by water again, but his promise to me that whatever I'm going through is not going to destroy me. He got me. So when I see that rainbow, it just lightens me and, makes me more energetic to go out and do the things I need to do. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude this episode. I know I've been all over the place. I hope that you take something from it. And I hope that you continue to tune in, watch, like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. Some of y'all watch, y'all don't subscribe. So subscribe. Click the little, what is it? The little check or plus button or whatever to subscribe to the channel. Like it, as well. And if you have any questions or any topic suggestions or any comments, you can send them to the raw questions @gmail.com. Once again, that's the THE raw RAW questions QUESTIONS @gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to coming to you each week.